Hey, everyone. I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had an amazing week. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, welcome back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, welcome. Again, we are here live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are watching the replay on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page, be sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the page. Hey, everybody. Again, Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know where you are tuning in from in the chat. Today I am in Orlando. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, where am I? It's been crazy sometimes, y'all. I'll be like, what city am I in? No, but today I'm in Orlando, Florida, but I do reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. But again, thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know where you are tuning in from in the chat. Hopefully I can see these chat messages, the comments, because you guys know how technology does to me. Sometimes it doesn't cooperate. That's what it does. But anyhow, so for those of you who are new to Mental Health Moment is all about how do you work on becoming the best version of who you are so you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. So again, we are here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And before we get started on today's Mental Health Moment, let me go through a couple of quick announcements. Let me see here. Let me get the date right. I should have this date memorized by now. Okay, so hi, thanks so much for joining here. Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. And again, yeah, let me know for those of you tuning in now in the chat where you're tuning in from. So a couple quick announcements before I get started today. One is that if you are in the Tampa Bay area or plan to be in the Tampa Bay area on Sunday, March 22nd, I will be speaking at an event that's open to the public. Most of my events now are not open to the public, and I apologize, but when they are, of course, I love to invite you all, the community. But on Sunday, March 22nd, there is an all-day event. It's called Intersection. It is pinned, I believe. I think it's on all my social media channels. It's pinned the information of how to register for the event. It is an all-day event. I'm super excited to be a part of it. Again, in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. Sunday, March 22nd. And I would love to see you there. So it's hosted by an amazing woman named Melissa Atkinson, just outstanding human. It's going to be a great event. There's going to be panelists. There's going to be entertainment there, all the things. So be sure to sign up. Again, it's called the Intersection event. And it's in Tampa on Sunday, March 22nd. So be sure to register for that. Would love to see you there. And again, thanks for those who are starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I believe there was another event. I have to find out actually if it's going to be open to the public. So I can't announce it yet. So I may be inviting you all to another event, but I'm not quite sure if it's open to the public or not. But nonetheless, again, Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Oh gosh, what are we in? We're almost in the third month of the year, which is really crazy. Like before you know it, we're in the third month, which I'm like, I feel like I was just talking to you all about like starting the new year. And then here we are. It's like we're practically heading into March soon, which is crazy. But nonetheless, so today, for those of you who don't know, one of my specialty areas when I do speak throughout different corporations and organizations and such is typically burnout prevention. It's something I talk about a lot. It's something that affects many of us. So today's topic, seeing that I feel like rapidly heading into the next month before you know it, is about burnout, right? Because one of the things that I've heard, or one of the things I've been hearing a lot of is that there's this almost like misunderstanding of like, what is burnout? What does that mean? How do I know? Right. And like, obviously what to do about it. And so I wanted to share with you today because one of the things that's hard is that there's a couple of definitions of burnout, right? But for those of you who are not new to mental health moment, I always stress we have to be checking in with ourselves, right? We really have to be asking ourselves, how are we doing? What do we need? What steps do we need to take? Like those should be like very frequent questions that you're asking yourself, because it's really hard to change things if you're not aware of where you're at mentally and emotionally. So awareness is first, right? But also, I wanted to share with you today because a lot of times when we hear the word burnout, you probably think like, oh, you're tired, some type of fatigue. Sometimes it's emotional fatigue, sometimes it's physical fatigue or mental fatigue. And those things are true too. That is one level of burnout, but burnout sometimes is very sneaky and it can really affect you in different ways. So today I'm going to share with you a couple of other ways, like things that may be happening, which may mean you've hit that point or you're about to hit that point. And again, we're in a state, hopefully you all, where we're working on self-awareness. I do want to put an asterisk on all this though, for those of you, especially who are new to mental health moment, that every week I'm sharing different tips related to mental health and wellness. However, sometimes it's just not enough, which is okay. Sometimes you do need to reach out to a mental health professional, which is okay. I know there's a stigma with mental health, but also the reality is there's benefits of receiving treatment in the form that works best for you from a professional standpoint. Sometimes it takes that, and that is okay. If you need that, that's okay. But nonetheless, use the tips. Maybe if you're a reader, read the books. I know some of you already know because you've already told me you've read the books that I have on mindset training, like, right? Like listen to the podcast, like do all the things that you need to do to be uplifted, to be motivated, right? And to work on preventing burnout. And also, again, if you need to take that extra step and be like, you know what? I've tried different things. I need to have someone else support. We talked a lot about that. I think at the beginning of this year, the value of support, then please take that step as well. Okay. And hi, for those who are joining here, let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. Hopefully I'll be able to see some comments because I never know what technology is going to do, unfortunately. As you all know, sometimes I can see all your comments and it's so exciting. And then just sometimes I can't, I just see like one or two, which is very bizarre. I know there's more than one or two of you all watching. So hopefully, or I can see some of them popping up. Hi, welcome back from Boston. Good morning from here. Okay, good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're at in this, in the world right now, right? For me, it's evening, but wherever you're at. Detroit's in the house. Okay, now I can see some of the comments coming in. Detroit's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining here again. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking today about burnout because it's a real phenomenon. It's something that affects many of us. Many of us have just hit that certain point at some time in our lives, or some of us are getting to the point where we're going to hit that point, right? But the goal, hopefully, is that you don't reach the point where you hit burnout, where you're so shut down and now you can't function, right? Like that. Let's work on putting things in place so we don't hit that point, right? So the first thing, as I was saying earlier, that sometimes we only think of burnout as being just exhausted, right? We're burnt out, we're stressed out. But also it can look like, the first thing I would say, it can look like emotional numbness, right? So if you feel like you are just so almost like detached, like you feel kind of indifferent, like, yeah, whatever, like going into your days or going into work or going into school, or, if you have some sort of other responsibility that you're doing, just sort of this like detachment in it, the emotional numbness, that also could be a sign of burnout as well. It could be a sign of a lot of different things. I do want to say that. Numbness for long periods are red flags to ourselves, because we don't want to be in that state for too long. Right now, gosh, this is so hard. I thought this was going to be like a quick thing to explain to you all, and I just thought of like 3 hours worth of things that I can teach you, which I won't be spending 3 hours for those of you who are new on today's mental health moment. But there's so much to unravel when it comes to emotional numbness. But I will do my best to simplify it and just say that yes, there are many different events that happen in our lives that sometimes cause an emotional numbness or trauma or things happen. So that could be a reaction to those things, but being in that state for too long is definitely a huge red flag, right? Because we don't want to be operating like zombies, right? We don't want to just go through life and be emotionally numb and never experience joy and not experience happiness and not experience our friends or our family members or satisfaction in work or whatever it is for you, right? Like you're allowed to have joy. You're allowed to be emotionally healthy. You're allowed to thrive. You're allowed to have those things. So again, sometimes when you have burnout though, and you don't even know it, is when you start to just feel like really detached from a lot of things that are happening, that emotional numbness, right? Hi, thanks for those who are joining here. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat again. I see some of you all from before. Boston's in the house. Detroit's in the house. Welcome, welcome. And again, someone was saying good morning. So I know you're on the other side of the world, which is all good. Welcome. But again, so that's the first thing I want to remind you of today, right? Is emotional numbness. That's also another sign that you may be at the point of burnout or getting to that point of burnout. And again, today's mental health moment is by no means here to diagnose you. Please don't self-diagnose. But it's only meant to educate you for you to understand, like, hey, maybe there are some red flags going on right now with my mental health or my wellness, right? Like things to be thinking about. Again, I hope for many of you that I hope for all of us, we really get into that state where we're very connected to what's happening in our lives, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, checking in with ourselves, and then taking the steps to be better version of ourselves, right? Whatever that step may be, because we all have different steps we need to take. Tulsa, Oklahoma's in the house. Welcome. Ohio, welcome. Chicago's in the house. I love that you have the house emoji. Chicago's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Cleveland's in the house. Welcome. Thanks again for those who are starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If you're just tuning in, today we were talking about different ways that burnout can show up in your life, right? Sometimes it is fatigue, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, but sometimes it just kind of sneaks up in other ways. And one of the ways we just talked about was through being just like feeling detached, right? Like just feeling like, you don't care, you're indifferent. That emotional numbness, that can also be a sign there's some level of burnout happening or about to happen. The second thing is another way that burnout can show up. It can show up in a lot of ways, but I'm going to talk about the three common ways today. But the second thing is that you have increased irritability, right? Or you just have low patience, or you have low tolerance. Maybe there's just little things. It was funny. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were just saying how like the smallest, tiniest decisions were just aggravating them, like simple things, right? That should be like a no-brainer, but like they were getting easily agitated, very easily frustrated, very stressed out at really small, tiny decisions. That's like, I don't know, like say you wake up and you have to decide what color shirt you want to wear, which in theory for most of us should be a pretty just small decision. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, right? Because we're like, I don't know, what should I wear? Like, I get that. I totally get that. But it in theory shouldn't be to the point where you are overly stressed with trying to decide between which two shirts to wear, right? Like that's just a small example. Like the tiny things that shouldn't be huge stressors become that for you when you're at the place of burnout or where you're too overwhelmed. And all this is saying, I do want to remind you a couple things when it comes to burnout. Your mind and or body will take the break if you don't decide to take a break for it. Like it will happen. Like if you go too hard and don't take the breaks and don't take the rest that your mind needs, that your body needs, they will shut down. Like they just will, right? And that's probably happened to you at some point before, where you've just gone and gone and gone, not taking care of yourself, which is okay. All of us are guilty of that at some point, but then your body shuts down and maybe you're exhausted and you're tired, right? Or your brain shuts down. And now you're like, man, I can't think. I can't remember anything. I'm, just doing things like without paying attention to that. Like all these things start to happen because our minds and our bodies need breaks. They really need breaks. It doesn't have to be long, huge breaks, but they need a break. They need to be recharged, right? Just like your phone, just like your cell phone, right? We charge it. Well, I charge mine every day. I don't know how often you charge yours, but we charge our cell phones or our laptops or whatever it is that we're charging. The same things with our mind and our bodies. So if you're in that state where you find yourself, you're like, I am highly irritable. I don't have any tolerance for anybody or anything. Like you're just really overly stressed out. Sometimes one of the ways to get back on track, if you will, is taking that break, like taking the breather in the way that works best for you. Also, I don't want to oversimplify it though, because again, really that irritability and frustration or whatnot can be linked to a lot of different things. But one of the things that you can do is think about, how do I give myself a break, a true break, right? And the break could mean drinking a cup of tea. Many of you know I'm a tea drinker, right? So it could be just taking that cup of tea if you're a tea drinker. It could mean taking some deep breaths. It could mean, if you believe in prayer, saying a quick prayer. If you need to take a walk outside, right? Like even today in my hotel, I took a picture. I put it on Instagram. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know I'm always in my stories, doing my stories on Instagram. But it was like, let me just take a minute, because like I enjoyed the sunrise this morning. I was like, let me, stop that picture, share it with you. I'm usually sharing something or another that I'm doing, to really take the minutes. So I'm practicing what I preach to you all too, but like, right, taking the minutes. How do we reset our nervous systems? This is a real thing. There's so much research going on right now, you all, with our nervous system, like always being in that fight or flight, and how it is not good for your mind and your body. It is not good to be in a chronically stressful state all the time. Right. So we have to work on ways, like be conscious of it as much as you can, you all. Be conscious of, how am I getting back my mind and my body into a calmer state? Now, you're not always going to stay there. Of course, life stuff happens, but how do you think about in your day to day, how do you get your mind and body back to a calmer place? If it's a minute, I preach, take a minute. If it's a minute, if it's a 5 minutes, if it's a 10 minutes, whatever you have in your day, think about, okay, let me get my mind and body back into a calmer place, because you're working on not having so much inflammation in your body. You're working on your mind not just constantly going on overdrive. I've met a lot of people who struggle with sleeping at night because they say, I can't turn my brain off, right? Because there's a lot of reasons for sleep problems, but throughout the day, sometimes we're so revved up, we can't, right, get our nervous systems back to a calmer place. So one of the ways, again, to think about this is throughout your day, making a very conscious effort. Some of you are great at this already. Fantastic. High five. Some of you need to work on it. Fantastic. High five, right? Like we're all at different places, but again, it is being intentional with it. It's being intentional and taking care of your mind and body. It's a real thing, y'all. Maitland, Florida's in the house. Welcome. Oh, that's nearby. I'm in Orlando today. Good evening to you as well. Hi from Colorado. Welcome, welcome. Irmo, South Carolina is in the house. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. So today we're talking about burnout and burnout prevention, and just different ways that sometimes burnout looks, right? Because we have this stereotype of what burnout is, and it is, well, it is being fatigued, it is being overly tired, stressed out, but also there's other little sort of sneaky things that pop up in our lives, and we don't always recognize it. Sometimes until it's too late. So, but if we knew in advance what it was, then we could work on helping ourselves, right? Which is the goal. Okay, and the third thing today I want to share with you, how burnout can look sometimes, is for some of you, maybe you're in like a overly busy mode, overly like almost overworking. Because what happens with burnout, it's very interesting with burnout. What happens is, so I talked about before how sometimes your mind or your body will take the break for you. You don't really want to get to that point though. You want to be in control, so you don't get to the point where you're just so exhausted, your brain just shuts down. It's like, I can't do this. Or your body's just like, I'm out. Like, right? Like we don't want it to get to that point. We want to try to prevent those sorts of things and take the breaks on our time. But sometimes what happens too, for some of you maybe, is that you almost tend to speed up, meaning you do more and more things, like to stay busy, almost like a coping mechanism. Like maybe if I stay really, really busy, I won't have to deal with fill in the blank, whatever issue that you may be dealing with at this point in your life. Sometimes we do that. It's a coping mechanism. But the problem with that is you go into overdrive, which also can lead to burnout too, right? So just being mindful of that there's nothing wrong with productivity. I talk with a lot of corporations, a lot of organizations. That's very top of mind for many companies that I talk to. They want the productive, which I get, right? Like we have to have things in place, and in your life too, whatever that productivity looks like. If you're in school, if you're at work, if you're retired, you just want to be productive, like wherever you're at in your stage of life, productivity is extremely important. However, adding in the intentional self-care, adding in the intentional breaks, making sure to reset your nervous system, you like I promise you all that is a huge part of the equation that gets missed. Which actually I feel like I've said this 4,000 times on LinkedIn, but it actually helps you to be more productive when you take the breaks, when you take the rest time, when you work on resetting. It just is, but we don't think that way. We think like just go straight through, don't take any breaks, work harder, longer hours, right? Like, and it's like, well, no, you also have to add in there some type of break for you, right? For your mind and your body. So again, I wanted to remind you all today, Decatur's in the house, welcome. Um, I wanted to remind you all today, again, of just some of the ways that burnout kind of shows up. Because again, the first step is really like really working on, we're all at different levels, but really working on your self-awareness. Like, where are you at mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? How are you doing? So that's always the three questions that I encourage you to ask yourself every week. Number one, how am I doing? Check in with other people too. Yes, very important. But also you have to check in with yourself and be honest with yourself, right? You don't need to lie. You're talking to yourself here. So be honest with yourself. How am I doing emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically? The second thing is asking yourself, what do I need? Right? What you need today is not the same thing as what you needed 3-4 years ago, potentially. And there's not what you're going to need in the future, maybe. Like right now, in this moment, in this season of your life, what do you need physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, right? Like, what do you need to work on? And then the third thing is really thinking about what step do you need to take today in your life. And again, that step could mean that you need to take some sort of a break. Maybe you need a mental health day. Maybe you need a mental health hour. Like maybe you need to take a minute. I don't know. Right? Like maybe you need to take a break. Maybe you need to reach out to that friend or family member, text them, call them, something. Like reach out, connect with that person, make sure you're getting more social support that you need to thrive for you. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe, like there's a lot of different things. We have different needs. But again, making sure that you're checking in with yourself and taking those steps. Right. Someone said, burnout isn't a lack of strength. It's a structural failure of our boundaries. Reverend Jesse Jackson taught us to say, I am somebody, to reclaim our humanity from a toxic system. RIP. Dr. Hammond's work reminds us that somebody has to rest or the architecture collapses. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for summarizing that like that. Very, very true. I have I don't know if I want to share the story. Oh, I have a story, y'all. I'm not going to share. Never mind. I'll leave that for another day. I have an interesting story, but it goes back to third grade for me and Jesse Jackson. So rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. Never mind. I'll share that another time. Totally not relevant to this conversation, but since you brought him up, it made me think of that. But yes, very, very true that burnout is not a lack of strength. It's really not a lack of strength. The thing is, like, one of the things that's important. So wherever you're at in your, season of life, even if you are like, you know what, I just listened to today's mental health moment. I'm checking all the boxes. I think I'm stressed out, burnt out on all the things. Here's the thing. There's like the vast majority of us at some point in our lives, we are going to hit burnout. Like it just is going to happen. The bigger thing though is hopefully you work on when you put the tools into place, right? When you learn the tools, when you become aware of yourself and how you're doing and what you need and working on not hitting the burnout, like it is possible to prevent burnout. It's very possible, but we have to take steps. We have to put things in place. We have to know what our triggers are, right? Like we have to know the signs the symptoms, like what this all means, putting the things into place, putting the things into place to make sure that, right, we're taking care of ourselves. And it is very possible to prevent that. However, if you've already, or maybe you're in it right now, you're like, I am burnt out, right? Then I know this is going to be hard to do, but one of the biggest things you can do is really work on your self-talk to not get into a place of self-blame, to not get into a place of self-hatred, to not feel guilty. I can't believe I'm burnt out. Like, right? Like, 'cause then it actually leads to more and more stress, right? Like, then you're just going down. We're spiraling, right? We're spiraling down. We don't want to spiral down. So that's one of the biggest things that I would say. Instead, be like, you know what? Yes, I am. If that's where you're at, I am in this place of burnout. Now, how do I get out of that? Right? Sometimes it's therapy. Sometimes it's talking to, family member, a friend. Sometimes there's bigger mental health needs. You need to talk to the doctor. Like, there's a lot of, like, mental health is on a spectrum. Your wellness is on a spectrum, right? But again, it's working on taking the steps to be as healthy as we can, right? Memphis, Tennessee is in the house. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining here. Okay, so let me wrap up today's mental health moment for you all. So, by the way, if you're just now tuning in, because we're about to wrap up, you all can always catch the replays of Mental Health Moment on, let me see if I can point to the right place there, on Dr. Nikisha Hammond YouTube page. So you can subscribe to the page, go to any video you want. All the, the descriptions are there. Obviously, if you ever miss a mental health moment, the replays will always be on there. So you're welcome to go on there, check it out anytime. If you're like, you know what, I need like 3 episodes to catch up on or something like that, all good. If you want to binge watch, it's all good. Make sure you take your notes. Sometimes it's, you're going to take some notes here for my note takers, or if you just want to listen to it, to get just more uplifted inspiration, it's all good. Just hope for each and every one of you listening to this that you start to really think about these things, implement these things in your life. Think about how, again, you can show up powerfully for yourself and for the people around you. The really, really cool thing, you all, about helping yourself is that you're helping others around you too. So when you are the best version of who you are, it trickles out to the people around you as well. They want you to be the best version of you. Trust me. I speak on behalf of them, whoever they are, friends or your family members. No, they want to see the best version of you, right? Of course, they want to see the kindest version of you. They want to see the happiest version of you, the emotionally healthy version of you. That's what people around you want to see. To work on that. And again, if you need the help of someone else to help you get through, or maybe you're just in a dark season of your life, that is okay. You're allowed to have a coach. You're allowed to have a mental health professional. You're allowed to have a doctor. You're allowed to have a team of people. You're allowed to have friends and family members. You don't have to do this alone. You could do this with the help of others too. That's all. Okay. Let me see. Someone said, I appreciate you removing self-blame. I heard a career coach say burnout is an inside job and the fault is with the person. So dismissive. Oh yeah. No, I don't agree with that. Okay. Let me take a step back. I will comment on that since you said that. Burnout is an inside job. Well, yes, some of the things we do, some of the actions we take do lead to burnout. I mean, right? If you don't take care of yourself, or if you're, making unhealthy choices, like all the things. Yes. Please take accountability, because sometimes we do things accidentally or purposefully, depending on how you look at it, that do lead to our mental health decline. Yes, that is a true statement. However, though, I still would want you, yes, to take the accountability to say, yep, that happened. However, not to get into a self-blame spiraling down, like where now you think so horribly of yourself. Now you feel worthless. Now you feel guilty. Now you're not going to do anything anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not go down that path. It's one thing to take accountability. Yes. Oh, fill in the blank. You did X, Y, Z. Maybe you should have done these healthy behaviors, whatever it was. Like not taking care of yourself in whatever way. But now that you've seen the light, right? But now that you have the awareness, now that you have the education, now that you understand, then you'll do better. Like, that's a better perspective to have. What's it? It was Maya Angelou, when she said, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better. That's one of my favorite quotes, y'all. Because it's true, right? So that's what I mean by like, don't play the self-blame game. Like maybe you didn't even know. Like maybe you were in a space where you didn't even understand like what burnout was. Maybe you're in a space where you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Like I talked to so many people, y'all, who are like, I didn't know that was anxiety, or like, I didn't know that was depression, or I didn't know, like sometimes we just don't even know. Right. So we can't get into like self-blame if you didn't know in the first place. But I will say yes. So take the accountability, but don't beat yourself up about it. Like let's move into like self-forgiveness and change your ways for the better and change for other people around you too, because they're going to benefit too. Okay, now I'm done. All right, but thanks for sharing that comment. I had to respond. Okay, now next Tuesday, I'm trying to think where I'm going to be next Tuesday. I don't know where I'll be. I don't know what city. I never know what city sometime I'll be in. But nonetheless, I will be back though next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed. Have an amazing week. Take care of yourselves. Do not blame yourself for things. Let's work on self-forgiveness, like I said earlier. And really think about think about some of the things like, am I hitting burnout? Am I already there? Am I in a healthy place? How do I get back to a healthy place? Putting those sorts of things in place, putting your self-care in place, taking care of you, checking in with you, all the things. I wish you all the best. And I'll see you all next week. So have a great week, you all. Take care.